In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this 3D object showcase effect, where you can basically use it in any video to showcase any item or object. And you can download the project file for this effect and much more in the Elite Editors community. We have in-depth courses done by myself and other professional editors like Yes Lucid. We also have so much more in there, but more on that later on. Let's get into the 3D animation. Now heading into After Effects, let's create a new composition with these settings. And then what we're going to do is begin setting up the scene. What the scene is basically whenever you're creating an effect or an animation, you need a scene for it to be placed in. So as you saw with the video I'm replicating, you can see he uses like a thunder kind of background. So what I'm going to do for that is I've actually downloaded some stock footage and I'm just going to import a storm video and a particles video, which we're going to use for the background. Now for this, the particles actually have a black overlay to it, so we need to get rid of that. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this toggle switches until it shows you this mode, and then you're going to hit this and go screen to get rid of the black. Then it'll look something like this, and we're actually going to turn the opacity down on the storm to about 70 to just make it a bit darker. Now I actually want to change the color of these particles to match kind of like a purplish blue, so I'm actually going to go hue saturation, and I'm going to change the hue until it's kind of a bit darker like this, which in my opinion looks a lot nicer like this. Now that we've got this, we're going to actually put the text into here. So create your text. I'm going to be using the Monsterrat bold font. It doesn't really matter what font you use, whatever matches should be right. And then you're basically just going to stretch it out to match the entire thing. So it looks something like this. Don't worry if it looks a bit weird now, we're going to add effects to it later on and it'll look perfect. Head over to Align and then make sure it's in the center by clicking these two, and boom, just like that you have the text and the background. Now what we're going to do is we've imported all of these, but we just need to import the 3D model as well. So go and find your 3D model, and once you've dragged it in, it should look like this. So just hit OK and you should be all good. And for any 3D model, you need to actually center the anchor point. So to do this, select it, go Layer, Transform, and then center anchor point in layer content right here. Now we can actually begin editing it. So let's bring it onto the screen using position. Let's scale it down so you can actually see it like this. And then we're just going to hide that for now so we can actually start with the other stuff. So beginning with the actual text effects, there are a few things you're going to use in the effects and presets panel. Some of these do cost money, so if you don't have these, you can find alternatives to say like glows on YouTube. But for now, I'm just going to go through all the effects that the editor I actually watched used and the ones I'm going to show you to use. Starting off, we need to create a color. So I'm going to add a 4-color gradient onto it, which obviously is free. And it'll just do this. So you just want to pick a theme that's pretty similar. So say dark purple, light pink, or dark blue, something like that. So I'm just going to do that really quickly, find one I like. I think these look really nice, so you can copy these if you want. Now the next effect we're going to add is drop shadow, which is also completely free. And then we're also going to add deep glow, which is a paid plugin. For the drop shadow, I'm going to put it to 100% opacity, set it to white, and then I'm going to move it a little bit like this. Then turning on the deep glow, we're obviously going to turn this down a bunch. And now the final effect, which also doesn't cost money, is going to be bevel alpha. You're going to turn the edge thickness up to about 22, and then you're going to move it to the other side. Now after playing around with it, it should look something like this. You can copy these effects if you want. Otherwise, yep, this is exactly what it looks like. So now we have the background, the text effects, and the 3D model in there. We need to actually begin animating the text into the screen. Now to do this, we're going to head into the little animation properties by clicking this little arrow. Head over and hit animate. Then you're going to select scale. Then we're going to have into here, which is going to be basically where we're going to be animating it to come onto the screen in that little kind of pop-in sort of effect. So scroll down and set the scale to 0. Then when we change the offset is actually going to dictate what kind of point in the animation we are. So it's essentially offsetting this property. Now as you can see, if I already move this up, it does this, but it's not one fluid motion, it's letter by letter. So what we're going to do is change the shape to ramp up. And then you're going to change the ease high and the ease low however you want, and it's going to give it eventually this cool sort of effect. So just play around with it, and I'm going to find something I like. Okay, so I found a certain setting I like, so I'm going to set the ease high to -45 and the ease low to 90%. Play around with these to figure out how they work, but basically they just change the way the animation works. Then set the offset to -100% and keyframe it. Then go a few seconds ahead and then set it all the way to 100% so it's on the screen, and then select both of them, keyframe assist and easy ease. Otherwise you can just do the shortcut F9 on your keyboard if you have that. Then with these two selected, head into the graph editor and we're going to do an entry curve by doing this. Make sure this is extended a little bit so then it looks like this. I think dragging it out above 4 seconds is perfect because it gives it like this slow effect at the end. And I think this looks really nice. Now with that said, now what we have left is the animation for the 3D model. Now for that, we're going to head over into the properties, head into the properties of the 3D model, then keyframe position and the rotation ones. Then hold shift to make it go further and then drag it so it goes through the camera. And then go a few seconds forward to when the text is just about done and bring it back onto the screen wherever you want it. Then go where you can kind of see it and animate it to how you want it to come from. So I kind of want it to spin like this. So I'm just gonna have it like that. And then swap these over so it actually starts like this and then comes onto the screen like that. And I'm still going to have it be a little bit rotated. Then unkeyframe the one that I didn't use, which is the Z rotation. Now select all of them and then easy ease them like we did before by hitting F9. And we're going to go one by one and we're going to do about an entry kind of curve like this. But don't do it as sharp as you possibly can. Just do like a subtle one like this. Same with this one, kind of just do it like this. And then the same with the last one. Then you can drag these out a bit more if you want, depending how slow you want it. I might even drag it out more and then actually make the animation a little bit sharper, but it's totally up to you how you do it. I think something like this looks nice. So it's like a nice and slow animation. Now that we've done that, you may be wondering how do we actually add effects to this, because you can't actually drop any effect onto this model. But what you're gonna do is right click and hit pre-compose. Now you can add any effects you want to it. Now I've actually just added a hue effect to it and changed the hue just because I don't really like the color of it. And I'm gonna see how this looks to see if it actually works or not. Now the effects we're gonna add to it is actually the same, drop shadow and deep glow. So as you can see, after we add deep glow, it already looks a whole lot better. And then drop shadow, we're gonna add these effects. And as you can see, now it already looks really, really nice. You can actually play around with it and mix and match the timing, so I could even move this a bit further back and have it come on after. Otherwise, it looks really nice just like this. Now that we've done the whole animation part, we're gonna select everything and then right click and go pre-compose. Now I'm gonna scale the animation to come from in the screen, and then about only a little bit later, I'm gonna have it back to 100. Then it'll look like this. The final thing we have to add to this is optional because it is a plugin that is paid, but I'm gonna add a sapphire shake to it to make it more realistic, like it's actually in a storm. So the settings, I'm just gonna check motion blur, turn the amplitude down to about 0.2. Same with the frequency, put it to about 1. Then you can see this is the animation we just created and I think it looks amazing. And now let's really quickly get back into the Elite editors. If you want to download the project file for this, you can go and get it in the community down below, and also some other presets. Like I've actually included the entire text preset. So if you just want to add any text into it, you can literally do that. And then you can apply the preset this easily, just like this. Otherwise, I have given it to you for free, but if you are interested, you can go and grab it in there, as well as much, much more. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.